Blink is your baying. Welcome from the show. It's doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this 20th June 25. We're back with some The Tower because why not? We're kind of tired. We have a lot of videos to do, the videos. But it's been a good morning. It's been a really good morning. We woke up about 2 hours ago. We did an hour of stream, and now we did an hour of Gundam. Now gonna be doing an hour and a half to 2 hours of making videos, and then we'll chill, and then we'll make more videos at 9 till 9:30, at 7:30 till 9:30, right? And then with those, what I'll do is I'll just stream some Fortnite. Sounds good. Sounds delightful. Delightful. Okay, that's perfect. That is perfect. Okay. She got me spinning. Don't blink as you're buying. Welcome to the show. I'm considering well because I'm having a wonderful 20th June 2025. It's crazy because we did about an hour ago. This is Nature Corn, baby. This is very Ocarina of Time, isn't it? If you weren't born in the 90s, and if you didn't play Ocarina of Time, you possibly don't understand what I mean, but it's kind of cool. We streamed an hour ago. We did a TikTok live, and it was really, really cloudy. And now we have this. The good news is my phones are full, so I'm gonna be able to do like 2 hours of content. I got a couple of videos in mind, not that many of them though, and that's just good. It's just it. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Don't blink is you in Corporate Show. Because I'm having a wonderful day on this 20th June 2025. We got a couple of videos to do. Let's do them. We're gonna be doing the Nature Corn. Now, if you have a chance, I would love for you guys to check out the TikTok live, because we did it an hour ago and it was cloudy. So to me, this is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like the Nature Corn. Are you kidding me? This is so freaking nice. Okay, so let's see what the Gilda says. Already, dude. We already finished with the weekly quests. So that's amazing. Champs, I hope I will stay in Legend. Good morning, peeps. Hope you're all well. Got an interview today to become an active member of society. There you go. Yeah, they're not talking a lot. I have to do a lot of talking. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is a cooking video. Don't blink as you're buying. And find a place. Everything well because I'm having a wonderful day on this. Whoa, it's like oh, there you go. There you go. It's a bit high, but it's a beautiful day outside, so I don't mind. We're doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this 20th of June 2025. The weather is beautiful. You want me to show you the weather? This is not the point of the video, but hey, it's something. My camera is always dirty. There you go. Look at this bad boy. It is gorgeous. You know the craziest thing? We're gonna be filming Nature Corn in about 20 minutes. It's gonna be so different. I'm excited for that. You guys know the lore of Inventa. You guys know me a little bit more each and every single day. And one thing that you learn about me is in my life there's always two things. Either I have money, either I don't have money. When I have money, what I like to do, I like to be a bit fancy. One of my favorite things to do is pork and beef. These are absolutely phenomenal. There's nothing I like more than this. It's super easy. Once again, just pop it. A lot of people will tell you, hey, the way to go is in the on the stove. I like to do it in the microwave. Now, I'm going to show you something that nobody does, but I've learned through being on a very limited budget for a while, and this is my favorite meal. So we have pork and beef. For my friends that are Muslim, for my friends that are Jewish, there is beef only, right? So what I'm gonna do is, most people tell you to go with the stove. There's actually a super simple reason as to why. So the stove in itself will keep the grease for something. So when you cook this and then you cook some eggs, it's delicious. However, I'm gonna show you why you shouldn't do that. I'm gonna take a bite. Don't do this at home. Oh yeah. Look at the feeling. We're gonna put them minute 45. Why did I like them so much? Well, because to me, it was somewhat of cheap meat. It wasn't the most expensive thing out there in the store, but it's because I adore. When I say adore, I mean I adore. I adore things that have multiple functions. So these, what I did was, that was amazing. I was cooking rice, and I was putting them in little pieces. So then it will give grease, an animal grease to the rice, improving the flavor. This would add also salt to the rice, right? While we're taking 2 pieces of bread, you're gonna see. It's gonna be super fucking phenomenal. I swear. If you don't like it, that's not my problem. That's why I like to keep it in the oven. But my best way of using them is in rice. It has a lot of taste, and then your rice is a complete meal. You could have a dozen of them, or you could have 5, 6 of them, and that would be a meal. Or you can have 2 and put them in rice, and it's as good and as fulfilling. So now I'm gonna show you right away. It has been about a minute 20. I was thinking that this was a good place to. I was thinking that this is a good place to film, but you don't see shit. So this is what it looks like, right? You can see that they're perfectly brown. We put them in a minute and a half. They are as good as the rest. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come here. This would have been a better place. I don't know why I didn't think about that. And what you come is very hot, so you use your chopstick. You guys are seeing me use the chopstick a lot lately. And there's a very simple reason as to why. I spent my whole life using utensil, which is spoon and fork, and I mastered it. So why not try something new? Why not learn a new technique or a new skills? And if using a chopstick is a skill, now why am I interested in that? Well, because I'm interested in eating, right? Now we have our sausage. So what I'm gonna come and do, which is one of my favorite things to do, is you can see here there's a lot of grease. I'm gonna take my soft piece of bread. Then I'm going to come and soak it up in the grease, right? It's not going to be the best, but it's going to add a little bit of flavor. Now, what I would also say is add mayo. Add your favorite condiment. Because yes, bread and sausage is a bit boring, but hey. And now for the pièce de résistance. Coolest thing with that is the change of color. Change of color is because the sugar and the sausage is actually cooking or caramelizing. As you can see here, the cook is perfect. It is insanely good. It's a bit hot. I've got my chopstick, but fuck it. No guts, no glory. Mmm. It is undeniable good. I always go for something that I've kind of pre-made, you know? With work starting soon, hopefully. I'm itching a lot because it's mosquito. I'm not gonna be able to do a lot. But don't worry, it's funny because this is so good. I mean, there's nothing better than bread. I love bread. Oh, this is something really good. What I was gonna say, I'm gonna feel out how nice it is when I was looking at the place I'm gonna be working 11 years ago, I was doing a special something. I'm gonna be redoing them for eating. That could be cool. Anyway, delicious, simple. Took less than a minute to cook, and it is a meal to die for. Plus, extremely cheap. Extremely cheap. The bag of sausage isn't that cheap. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap. However, by doing this with a portion, and get more out of what I was seeing. What was really cool is in Asian culture, people that have a bit less money, what they'll do is they'll do like 2 sushis, or it's not sushi. What do you call it? It's like it's very similar to sushi though. It's rice, and then you put something on top like a meat. Like you'll do some salmon and some tuna. What they do is they do half with salmon, tuna, half with spam. Spam is spam is super inexpensive, and salmon is a bit more expensive. So with this, you get kind of both, right? You can kind of get both luxury and normalcy. Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to the Comfort Show. I'm doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this. Oh, phone is too hot. Well, what do we expect? Give me a sec. It's not a bad thing though. We've been filming for 10 minutes. And the phone was charging before we came out, so it was possibly hot to begin with. I just wanted to make a quick video saying that lately I have been loving life. I've been really having a good time in life lately, and I just wanted to come on here, not to necessarily brag, but to, you know, we had a rough last month. We had a rough last 2 weeks, and we're doing a lot better. Yes, I'm covered in mosquito bites. It is insane. Ugh. This feet is not bad. This leggy, but still, all of these are fucking mosquito bite though. It's bad. Yeah. So I just want to come on here and say that I love life. Like for example, yesterday I took the time to answer your comments, and it was really nice. And there's 2 things in comments where yesterday, and I started to say, I wish it was you guys, but just this. It has been momentous. It has been memorable. But it's so nice. Like for example, like even 2 weeks ago, I felt the need to go out of the house, to film outside of the house. So I was finding the footage boring, you know. And this is just a proof that, do I like to go out? Of course. Do I think that I'm gonna be able to get a spectacle like that? No, of course not. However, the simple thing, right? Like for example, I've been sleeping more, which is great. I've been waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, which I'm not used to. But at the same time, it's a good thing because the whole day is mine. I get the sunlight. I get the sunlight in my apartment. When it comes to life, I'm a night owl. I've always been a night owl. However, I gotta say, it is quite nice to be up in the night. It's so rare too. Morning. Well, I have this job. I had this interview for this job that I didn't want in the beginning. Why did I want the job? I told the story before. I'm gonna say it again. It's a job that I was working before, which was great. A lot of hours, a lot of cash, but health-wise, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. It's one of those places that, it's not recommended to work there, I guess. So, of course, a bit nervous. And then I was desperate, right? And then there's kind of this, and I know people that are going to hear that are going to be like, I don't know, disappointed with me, I guess. But that's your choice. I went there desperate to apply. I went there desperate. I needed a job. I needed a job. I needed a job. Then Bidar Resources, the agency I work with, they came in and they offered me a good job. Now this good job is in jeopardy because somebody from the company I cannot tell you when I'm working because I don't know how long I'm gonna be working there. But basically, what they do is they supply grocery stores, which is a great thing. And because they supply grocery stores, there's a lot of food. However, we'll get it in bulk. So what we do is we prepare orders. So for example, this IGA needs 200 units of a set product. So you're gonna do a pallet of those products, right? And you're gonna be doing an inventory. My job is more inventory. We work in the freezer, which is nice. Somebody has been stealing, and it's common knowledge. People see him. He's not ashamed of it. I don't know why. And of course, at first he was stealing some small stuff, and he was stealing some Reese's. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. The chocolate bar, the Reese's. And last Friday, which was 1 week ago today, I saw him steal a pound of bacon. Yeah, so Omi is getting greedy. I understand why he's doing it though. I mean, he did something wrong and didn't get reprimanded. He did something wrong, got caught, no consequences. Also, it's an agency job, so agency, it's such a complex, it's so complex. Agency workers are seen badly. There you go. See, cold enough. So this is good. The cheese is perfect. Oh, by the way, I was on Reddit today, and I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but the tower overheating the phone is normal. This is what's going on. I thought it was the phone. I thought it was the temperature. No, it's the tower. So hey, my bad. So with the agency, there's this mentality of it's not a permanent job, so why do I care? And I went there. I've been there. I've been in those shoes. I've been in this exact feeling of why do I care about the job I'm not gonna have? So when you start with an agency, and I know it's not good to talk about, but I don't care. When you start with an agency, it's just a feeling of I'm gonna get hired. Hopefully, this is just a temporary setback. I'll get hired by a company, and then you do one company, and then you do two companies, and then you do three companies. You don't get hired, and then your mentality of I'm gonna get hired is different. So you start not giving a shit, right? I remember one of the companies was the worst place. One of my worst experience working, honestly, was this place. They were selling furniture. And I was working, and I was trying to work my best, and I was trying to do my best and work as much as possible. And again, and the worst thing happened. And the worst thing was what? The worst thing was that I was working with two people, and those people, they decided this morning that they didn't want to work. They were agency workers, so they decided to hide, and they got fired. I got fired, and they didn't get fired. Like, what the fuck? But at the same time, the company that I'm working there, it's such a different story. It's such a different story. I was one of the agency workers that they kept because I was a good worker, you know. So yeah, as an agency worker, your mindset is this is temporary, and because this is temporary, I don't need to making or putting in as much effort as I would normally, I guess. But then at the same time, a lot of companies that I've been are treating agency worker like shit. There was two companies that I didn't have that. The first company was taking out some. It was unloading trucks and then reloading them with furniture. So we would get it was crazy. This job was insane. You would get boxes, like IKEA boxes of furniture, and you would have to build them, and then you would build them, and then you would fill the truck with built furniture. So it's completely nuts. And then they didn't give me shit because most people there, and that's insane, but there was 4 employees in that company. The 4 employees, the rest was all agency worker. My boss, my manager, was an agency worker, which I never saw before. I never seen that before. I never even heard of that before. And the craziest thing is they made him, and this is personally speaking, this is wrong. This is something that I don't condone. I never understand. And again, this is a true story. You not enough, bro? You not enough? They were giving him the same salary as a normal person, but then he would have to answer for bullshit. You know, when he made me assistant manager, I'm like, no, I need more money. It's like, I don't get more money. Why would you get more money? I'm like, so why do I have to suffer? Well, because you've been working here the longest. I'm like, oh fuck, you know. And then I just left. Fuck that. It wasn't toxic, but it was just bad. And then the good thing is they moved a little bit after, because they moved a little bit after I could have not worked there anymore. So kind of a bad for good. And then the second company that I had that had the problem was PCT, the company that I used to work, my last job, if you will, because it was such a small company that it didn't matter, and it was always like 1 or 2 employees. The problem with agency is most of the time it's like they're 15, 10, 15. So when you have 10, 15, it's easy to have a couple that are shit worker versus the entire. When you have a small company where you only hire a couple people from agency, if there's a problem, fire him, right? But then when you have to manage 10 people that are not working for you, but are working for an agency, and you're only dealing with the agency, it's like a triangle. No, you know what? I'm going to take Children for Boys thing. It's like a V, right? This is the workplace, and this is agency worker, right? They never communicate. They need to go down this common point. The common point is the agency, right? And the agency is a bunch of document pusher or pencil pusher. So a lot of time there's no communication, then there's bad bloods, you know. All this to say, they sent me there, and they sent me this company, and this was the first company that I actually wanted to work at long term. So my first job, it wasn't the video wasn't about that, but we'll touch about it. I want to do more content today. I'm in a good mood. I'm talkative. I'm in a good mood again. I'm talkative again. So let's do some videos. So the first job that I did was a place called Costco. My first employment was Costco, but it wasn't great because I had a boss on the weekend that was super kind, and I had a boss during the week that was a complete asshole. And they had a really different way to do things, and it was like, oh, this is my shift, I do what I want. And the person that suffered was the employees, you know. So it didn't work. And I'm gonna sound like an asshole, okay? But please, before you judge me for being an asshole, I was 18, right? So I didn't know better. And this was my first experience, so I was immature with workforce. So I go in, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be working here my whole life. But you know what? You know what's the craziest part? If you ask 18-year-old Ing Vendetta, I don't even know what I want to do. I don't even know. I don't even know. If you ask 25 years old Ing Vendetta, do you know what you want him to do? No. Did you ask 28 years old Ing Vendetta? You had an ID, which was making content. And if you have 29 years old Vendetta, if you ask 29, 30, 31, 32 Vendetta, I know what I want to do, right? I want to make content. So Costco, I didn't see myself. We had IGA. IGA was a fucking, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful nightmare. IGA was possibly the place that I had the best experience. Because first of all, it was very social. IGA was very, very social in a sense that I didn't really have people in my life. I didn't have friends, but IGA was a group of students. So they were super chill. I remember there was this guy, and we were always, and it's so fucking crazy because I was working in bakery, and he was working in ready to eat, and the ready to eat. This guy, Nikki. I love Nikki. I love Nikki. Nikki was a good dude. There was at this place there was IGA, and I'm sorry, what I'm gonna say is gonna be extremely bad, extremely almost misogynistic. I am not misogynistic. This is we had a lot of we didn't have a lot of dude employees, but the dude, they were always together. Like for example, we had Dimitri. Dimitri was a super cool dude. Didn't talk a lot. We had Alex. Alex was the bigger brother of everybody. He was 32 years old, but he was still that child mentality. We had the twin. The twin were so cool. I had a girl that she didn't use me, but she liked the attention I give her. So then I sent her a text. I'm like, hey, I want to be more than friend. And she should have texted people. And then the twins, that was the craziest thing. I was working there for 6 months. She was working there for 3 years. The twins were working there for 3 years. The twins were almost best friend with her. And they came to me. And like, yo, she should have texted. So, you know, that was super cool. And everybody thought she was Anyway, that's not a big deal. But the best was Nikki, because Nikki, I was working with him, and Nikki was a piece of shit. Don't you know, the brother type of piece of shit? So Nikki, I was, like I said, for example, I'm here, and Nikki is the neighbors. So whenever I was looking at Nikki, he would give me the finger. Just because he's an asshole. Just because he's an asshole. It was amazing. It was amazing. And the bakery, it was tough because this thing that I didn't like about the job, and this was my ADHD. So he would give me a paper, and this is what you need to do, right? And I was working alone. They would kind of manipulate me, knowing I'm not the kind of guy to say no, knowing the kind of guy to just do. What I would do is I would have the paper, and they imply that if you can do most of it, cool. If you can't do the whole thing, it's good. But I had the mentality of I have to do the whole thing. And with ADHD, what you do is you wait until the last second. So I would do 8 hours job in 4 hours. The cool thing was my boss didn't care. The not cool thing was I had this. I have a lot of a coworker that would give me a shit, because I was. For example, there's a customer that came to me, and she was like, "Hey, what are these?" And I didn't know what it was, but I had a mentality of selling. So I was like, okay, well, these are good. And like she said, this is red and this is green. What is it? So well, red is strawberry and green is lime. She said, oh, thank you so much. I said, no problem. It was both cherry. So I lied to get to sell, but hey. Then after IGA, I went to AW. AW was super cool. AW was super cool, but it was AW was also a great, really, really good place to work at. I met. It's funny. I was 21 when I was working at AW. I met my first love that could have worked. I was such a pussy to make a move, and then one of my friends at AW. And then the whole thing came to shit. But AW was good. However, AW had a group of people that was there for 2-3 years, and then there was a group of people that was new, and you could tell there was a separation between the two. And it was also a lot of beef. So I had this girl, and she was into me, and I was into her. She would miss the bus for me, but I was too much of a pussy. that girl, Fresia, I have to text her. Fresia was amazing. Fresia, it was so cool. She used to work during the day. So she was working at like from 9 to 5, if I'm not wrong. And I was at night shift, so I was working from 3 to 11:30, and she was sleeping. And then she would tell me, "Hey, call me when you're done." And I would call her, and she was sleeping. And I'm like, oh, "I'm so sorry, I woke you up." She's like, "No, no, I want to talk to you." It was really cool. But like I said, our best friend, oh, dude, my best friend was also my best friend, and then she things really changed. But that's not important. Oh, phone is too hot. It's okay. As long as I can hear the phone is too hot, I don't mind. What pisses me off about the phone being too hot is if I miss content. This has pissed me off because I'm like, holy shit, you didn't pay attention. But I don't want to look at the phone forever. And then that's why. You guys wanted to know why I felt always there? It wasn't because of the landscape. It was because I could see the phone. That's it. So then A&W, it was so fucking stupid. There was this guy who used to flirt with the girl that I like, and he would flirt, and so it's complex. So what happened is, with Fresia, we had a thing. One of the manager kind of liked me, but I wasn't into her. Nothing wrong with her. I just wasn't. She was older. She was 28. I was 20. She had life figured out. I didn't have life figured out. I was 21. Sorry. And also she didn't want kids. I wanted to have kids. Versus Fresh, which was 22. No, Fresh was, I think it was 19. So yeah, so there was this guy, and he flirted with her, and he used to flirt with her. And I remember, oh my god, this is oh my god, this is the beginning of Ink Vendetta. This is really the beginning. One of the first thing because the beginning of what made Ink Vendetta is a couple movie, V for Vendetta, Fight Club, Kenny vs. Penny, Trailer Park Boys, of course, a bunch of anime. But what really, these are all inspiration. These are all in my head. The very first move of Ink Vendetta was that there was this guy, and he was flirting with her, and he would make her really uncomfortable because he would talk about how big his cock is, you know. And I remember one time coming in, and I didn't even punch in, and I went to see her because I wasn't a good employee. I couldn't remember how to make a burger. But then again, you made me work one day out of the week, so I'm supposed to take my time and just study the burger. No, fuck you. No. So I remember not punching in. I just wanted to see Fresh because I miss her. And I heard the guy say, I would break the bed with you. And I remember, and that was one of the most gangster things that I ever done. I was so proud of myself. And I moved right past him, right next to me. I didn't touch him, I didn't talk to him. And I was like, hey, I'm really happy to see you. And we hugged, and it was like, just a dominance thing. And it was super sweet. And then he was like, oh, you're together? And I told him, yes, leave her alone. And he never did again. But the problem with AW was I wasn't a good worker because I didn't know the burger. So then she said I was nice. She didn't want to fire me, so she would give me 4 hours of work per week. Now little did she know I had another job. So I didn't care about the money. It didn't really matter to me. So I was like, okay, well, you can give me this amount of time. I don't care. But then the problem was people really, really liked me there. Really liked me. I was the youngest, but I was also like super. Okay, so if you work in restoration, you'll learn one thing. There's always infighting between the team. The back of the house, which is the kitchen, will always fight more than half of the job. In majority of job, the back of the kitchen will always fight with the front of the kitchen, because when there's a problem, it's easy to point fingers. More easy to point fingers than to point at yourself. But me, because I was working only one day a week, I didn't care. Oh, the front of the house made a mistake, it happens. The back of the house had made a mistake, I'm sorry, you know? So we would come together, and I was the only one that kind of had a foot in both crew. So they really liked me. So what I would do is one person, and this is crazy. I would get one shift, my shift. I would get one shift from a person in cooking, in the kitchen, and I would get one shift, and it sucks because I had this guy called Savvy, and I love Savvy. Savvy was an older brother to me. Savvy was super cool. Savvy was Savvy was a good dude. I love Savvy. Savvy was this guy that's we just got really along well, and he was a super cool dude. But he had his guard up, so Savvy thought he was a bad boy. Savvy thought he was a gangster, and then I started calling him Savvy because it was just like a little sweetheart name, like with the boys, we'll do this a lot, be super gay with each other because it's funny. And then there was another guy who called him Savvy, and he'd say, "You don't fucking call me like that." And then the guy said, "Yeah, but he calls me like that. Yeah, but him is cool." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." And Savvy, I feel so bad because Savvy had a fucking kid, and that kid was like 3 years old, and he was a single dad, and he would give me shit, and he would give me shift. So I was like, "Bro, you need that money more than I do." But at the same time, I cannot say no to a shift, and I would get a shift for the kitchen, from the front of the house. So I was supposed to work 3 hours. It's a minimum of 4 hours per shift. So the least can give you is 4 hours per week. But instead of doing 4 hours, I was doing 20 hours, and I was doing 20 hours. Oops, I died. It's okay. Biggest, the best I did. So I would do 20 hours per week. You know what's crazy? The flies will eat the skin. So the mosquito mainly have a scab, and the fly will eat the scab. This is Mother Nature. People think that flies are dirty, but they're not. They're one of the insects that cleans themselves the most. So what they do is they're I don't know what you call it in English. They eat cadaver. So they eat so when you talk about carnivore, talk about herbivore, talk about omnivore, flies will eat cadaver. So not necrophilia, that's something else. But yeah, like you can see that with vulture, and the same thing. When they see the dead piece of skin, they'll eat it. And the best thing about the piece of skin is that they'll clean the wound. So they take away a whole scab, they'll clean it, and then you'll have a new scab, which is great. So what happened with A&W? There was this girl, and she was a piece of shit. She was really mean, and at that time, it's funny because I was obsessed with getting Penny, so I became really good at reading people, and I said I was good at reading people, and she was sad, dude. She was sad, and I came in for one shift, and she gave me shit. She told me shut up. She told me fuck you. So I was like, dude, I work here once a week. You're not gonna tell me that. And she said, what are you gonna do? I said, well, I'm gonna quit. And at that time, there was only 2 people. I stayed for Savvy though. Savvy was a cool dude, so I stayed for Savvy. But apart from that, I was like, fuck you, dude. And I left for that. Then I worked for Simon. But Simon was more of a friend than a coworker. So that was a problem because if I made a mistake, Simon would defend me, but it was complex because it was a family business, and he took care. Simon was an older brother to me. I met him in IGA. When I talk about my mentors, Simon was one of them. Was the first, one of the greatest. He really took care of me because he saw potential. So the reality is, Simon wanted to have his own business, and he was looking for employees for his business, people he could trust, people he could form, right? But Simon, what I didn't like about that was it was a family business. So when I came in, whenever I made a mistake, Simon would defend me, but he would defend me against his family. Like, hey, your boy did something wrong. I know, mom, and I didn't feel like that was cool. I felt bad for the relationship between the son and the mom, And then I started having some. Then I started having some agency work. Agency work were different. I had Fabriville. Fabriville was great. It was really cool. Fabriville was what it was. You put furniture together, so you'll have a piece of wood. You'll have holes. You just put in the pieces in between. So, for example, it's two. It's sort of like Lego, if you will. It's a big stick with 2 rounds. The rounds go in the hole, right? So that's all you have to do. You have to put it in the hole. You have to smash it a little bit with a hammer. Not hard enough to have marks, but hard enough to it to stick. And then we put glue, which was good. It was just too far though. I would do 1 metro, and I would do an hour and a half of metro. and then I would do an hour and a half of traffics. So I was doing a 5 hours, almost 5 hours of transport per day. It was too much. It was too much. It was too much. Then the next place that I had was, what is the next place? I had Novatech, which I'm not even gonna mention this place because it was disgusting. It was disgusting. It was bad. It was bad. They used to you had to put in your digital print to go for a break. They would gate you in. If you want to go to the bathroom, you have to knock on the window. That way they open the window. It was bad. It was bad. And then there was just a lot of drug usage from employees. Like I remember one time I found a syringe. So like you care about us working 8 hours and not stealing time for the bathroom. You don't care if your employees are doing syringe in the locker room, you know. So I just left. And then the next job that I had was a place that I'm working. Well, I could be working then, and it was disgusting. It was back then. What I first thought I had was, and this is crazy. I never told the story before. My best friend Carl. You guys know Carl, right? Carl was working. He lived in Dorval. Dorval and Lachine are neighbor. So a lot of people from Dorval are gonna be working in Lachine, and a lot of people from Lachine are gonna be working in Dorval. It's proximity, right? So one of the cousin of Carl was working there. He got really sick. So Carl was like, "Don't work there, dude. Don't work there." And my father was a welder, and this place has to do with metal. So my father was like, "Don't work there. Don't work there." Again. So now you're doing it kind of often. Which is not good. Which is not good at all. So you hear the, right? This is bad. This is really bad. Yesterday we didn't have a problem. Well, today is 21. Shit, almost fucked up. 32 degrees, right? So Reddit give me, they're giving me so much fucked up things. Because I use Reddit kind of for dating. So they'll give me every single page for dating, you know? Quebec, I said the name, I'm sorry. Fuck, I said the name. Fuck. They're 60 years old this year, so kind of big thing. I came in and I saw a place. There was literal smokes. It was, the ground was disgusting. I used to come back home and I swear to God, this is not a joke. I would have dust till my nape. And my father was like, "Oh, what the fuck happened?" I'm like, "Well, I'm working. Like, this is not healthy." And I worked there for an agency. So the cool thing with Quebec, it was a learning experience. It was a classical place of union. It was my first job with a union, actually. And it would say, "Hey, work class, you're making the rest of us look bad." And I'm like, I don't care. I'm here to work, you know. And there's more to the story than that. If I was to tell you, okay, what is more? Well, it's actually quite simple. I had done 3 places with the agency. This place was insane. Quebec was insane. Why? Because I could listen to music, but it was 20 minutes away from my house. This is the closest place I've ever worked. IGA was crazy. IGA wouldn't give me a lot of hours. Because IGA, we had a bakery department with 7 employees when usually you have 4, so it was part time. I couldn't even afford the bus pass. So then what I had was my bike. But I was late one day, and I didn't lock my bike. So somebody stole the front wheel, and I couldn't use the bike anymore. So it was bad. And then I used my skateboard. The skateboard was good though. It was 40 minutes of skateboard. Back then, the skateboard was my number one tool. I would do the skateboard from this. I did Quebec. Quebec was taking 10 minutes it's 15 minutes by skateboard, which was good. And that's pretty much it. So Quebec was the very first place, and I was like, okay, well, this is a good job, I'm not losing it. And it was at Lachine. The pay was good, but it was more than that. It was the fact that it was such a perfect job. Again, okay, so we're talking about honesty. Okay, let's go with honesty. Let's really go with honesty. It was a perfect job because when it was busy, but most of the time it wasn't busy. So what you do is you have like they call it balancade, which is a bridge, and you fill the bridge with pieces. And then when the bridge is filled with pieces, you have to wait for the you have to wait for them. What should we call it? This was dumb shit, guys. I'm telling you, dumb shit. But it's unionized. That's why. So what they would do is you would call. You would there was a button to ring, like a button that, and then the lift driver would come and pick it up. But the lift driver, if he was picking up something else, it would take 10 minutes, and then he would pick up the thing, and he would bring it to another place, and then you would put in another bridge, right? So in between bridges, you had like 30, 40 minutes, right? Which you did nothing. Now, here's the thing. With bridges, it depends. Some bridges, I swear to God, this is true. You had one pieces. It was one pieces, but that was really, really big. Some of them, you had three pieces that were really big, you know? So you just have to take a hook and hook it to the beam. Holy shit, you're too hot. Two phones are closing because it's too hot. Dumb link is you buying. Could you go to the show? Continuing well because I'm having a wonderful day. Welcome to part 2 of the video that was supposed to be why we're so thankful with life, to my whole job experience in my life. I was at Quebec. So yeah, this phone closed by the way because it was too hot. Look at this. This is crazy. But and I told you I'm gonna be filming a lot when there's cloud outside. I like a clear sky. Most of my friends do, but a cloudy sky, to me, it's unbeatable. So with Quebec, it was like you would wait for 40 minutes, and you would work for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then because it was unionized, when it was too hot, you would take a break every 2 hours because it was unionized, you'd have 2 breaks that are paid. So it was really good, and back then it was one of the first jobs that really had they had showers. Now, why that matters because they're talking about the employees. They had a cafeteria which was huge, which was for the employees, but more for the employees than the agency worker. So why did I stop? Well, because I mentioned I made a mistake, and I mentioned I wanted to get hired, and I insisted on getting hired, and I was like, well, I don't want to work for the agency anymore. So I fucked myself over for the agency, and I fucked myself over for the guy. By the way, for agency, why am I not satisfied with agency anymore? I'm not saying that I'm not satisfied. I do like working for agency. It's super easy because you have a job, and if it doesn't work, you'll get another job. However, I gotta say, my first expérience with agency was with a guy called Michael Tessier. Shout out mon boy, je t'adore, man. T'étais un gars extraordinaire pour moi. Michael Tessier was my agency worker, and he always took care of me. Now that he's gone now. He doesn't work with them anymore. Now that I'm working with other people, it's comme ci comme ça, but not as good as him, and they don't take care as much as me as they him. So I'm like, dude, I'm in for an agency worker. I'm getting you guys money. You should be, Okay, the truth. Okay, I'm an agency worker. The way agency work will is that the agency worker will work. They're gonna cut out the pay. So with the PCT, I was getting paid $24 an hour, and the agency gave me 12.50. And you know the craziest thing is, this is gonna be much later on, but still I'm gonna tell you it now. Uh, Mihai was Mihai, which was my old boss. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna hire you. I'm gonna give you $18. I know that normally it's 16 hours, but I want to give you 18." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's gonna cost you more." I said, "What you mean? You're already costing me $24 an hour." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Why?" I said, "Well, they give me 12.50." And he said, "Those fucking bandits." Now, did Mihai know that they were giving me 12.50? I don't know. I want to believe him saying when he said he doesn't know. I want to believe him. He could have He could have known. I don't know. So yeah. So with Quebec, I was like, I want to get hired, and this is where the illusion, if you will, breaks. I didn't care about salary. I went to work there because it was a good place. It was a good place. It was just toxic though. It was really toxic. So then, my memory of them was a good place but toxic, and you'll when most people that are watching this are younger. When you'll have a job, you'll understand. There's places that you think you like, where the coworker, the workplace is very toxic. There's very toxic behavior, and you come to accept that. You come to expect that. You come to think this is normal, and then you like the job because you like the people, right? Then when you leave that place, like, yeah, this was toxic, you know. And it happens a lot. Then after PCT, I did a place called Structure. Structure was a great place to work. It was close. It was really close. It was 50 minutes. This is the place where I got my depression. This is the place I got the most tattoo at. It was 40 hours a week. Structure was a good place because it wasn't that bad. It was not a lot of work. For example, we've had days of 8 hours where we had to do 2 trucks. 8 trucks takes an hour and a half, by the way. This is workshop. This is workshop places. Most workshops are not working, and when there's rushes, but most of the time there's no rush. And Studio was nice. It was really cool. The management was crazy because them also had a gate with a lock, which was stupid. This is the place where my boss had the same salary as me. This is the place where my boss was also a manager. He was also an agency worker. And then what happened is, I told you guys the story before. He liked me a lot because I was nice to him. Most people called him a loser. So the guy was called Francis. Francis was a good dude. Francis had okay, so it's complex. Francis is really complex. Francis, and that's his fault because he was bragging about it. But Francis had, it was a certain age, I think it was 36. He had a really good place in the army. He was an immigrant. He had a good place in his army. He was like I think it was general back then, in his country, and he had enough money to live the perfect life, you know. And then he decided to immigrate, and then as an immigrant which has a army background, you can kind of get into the army. It's like hey, this is I know what's up. They'll be like, okay, well, you have your proof. You're more likely. It's stupid. A lot of my friends that are Filipinos have been nurse in their country, and when you kind of come here, it's like, oh no, you can't. You have to take a course. Or people that are doing a course in scientists, they take a course, right? But with the army, it's kind of different. So France is a good place, and then he chose to work with an agency. So he was being seen as a loser because he had such a good job that he left and he had a shitty job. But Francis had horrible experience at the army. He's telling me about how he wakes up thinking about how he killed people. He had a really bad place, and he's like, and it's not because he knew the rumor, and I think because me and him were close, we were friends. I feel like he felt that he had to justify himself to me, like, yeah, this is a shitty job, but I'm getting money from my years of services. So the two of them together, I'm making more than the bosses of this place. I'm like, I don't care. You do what you want, dude. Right? You do what you want. See, the same fly is still upon my wounds. Still upon my wounds. Which is great. And we're bleeding. So, the reason I quit, that was my fault though. That was my fault. This is my fault, but this was also a misunderstanding. uh, Francis liked me, so he kept me during winter. So during winter, we had 2 trucks a day. So the boss was like, "Yo, you need to fire people. You need to fire people." And then he only kept me and Zach. Zach was a really good dude too. I like Zach a lot. Zach was a younger brother to me. He was super nice. But Zach spoke only English, and Francis didn't speak English, so I was translating everything. So what happened was he kept me for winter, and then when time came to hire more people summer, and we had more trucks, he was like, "Steph, you're gonna be my right hand," and I was like, "Holy shit, thank you, dude." I thought about raising the salary, but I don't know. I was getting in more trouble. I was getting into people giving me shit because your guys are not working. I'm like, dude, I'm 5'4". They're 7 foot. What am I supposed to say? Go to work. Don't tell me fuck you. You know. Now, the truth. Did I try to tell them to go work? No. Did I try to be a boss? No. So that's my fault. But I wanted more money. I wanted a lot more money. So I just left. That's when I learned that Francis was also a agency worker. That's when I learned that Francis was also making the same salary that I did. To me, if you give me more responsibility, more work, gotta pay me more. I don't care about money, but I care about I don't. Okay, so even with content, I don't care about money. However, pay me for what I'm worth. If you're doing something that nobody else is doing, you should get a pay that nobody else is doing. People are like, oh, those firefighters are getting so much. Yeah, they're risking their life. Police officers are getting so much. Yeah, they're risking their life. Plus, they're hated. You know. Now, there's a discourse I have on bank management and shit like that. That's not my. This is not a problem for me to solve. But at the same time, yeah, you know. So I left, and then after that, I spent a bunch of time not working. I spent 2 years not working because I made so much money. Uh, because what would happen is with agency, they would tell you, hey, you need to work. 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 Otherwise, we'll move on to somebody else. So there was this constant, and at the same time, this is very personal. This is a mentality also. This is a problem of mentality. Agency work was very sparse. So there was a bunch of company for agency that was shitty. There was a bunch of company that was really good. If you're lucky, you get a good one. If you're not lucky, you have to wait for the good one. It was very sparse. So with agency work, and this is, I feel like it's normal though. See, the fly is gone, and now it's itching again. It was a case of, how can I say that? It was a case of your work is not secured, your income is not secured. So for a bunch of months, for a bunch of years actually, I start, and it was crazy. These, I'm telling you, were the craziest years of my life. Now, I mentioned as to why. When I talk to you guys, I often talk to you about, oh, I was broke. And when you listen to me and say you're broke, like, yeah, but at that age you said you were working. How come you were broke? The reality is that I was. Sometimes I was broke, but the reality is I felt broke when I was broke. There's some years where I there's a year. This is a true story, because I never took welfare, because I'm perfectly able to work. I never took welfare. I never ever took welfare. Give me a sec. I was always worried though with cash. So I was working, but I didn't have money, because I was like, okay, well, if I lose my job, when is the next time I'm going to be working? It could be in a month, it could be in 2 months, you know. So when I quit that job, I had enough saving for 2 months. I have enough saving for 2 years. Now the truth isn't. This is half the truth. I made some coffee. I forgot the cup. So when I left that job, right? I said that I was leaving because of the stress of the work. So when you say, and then I didn't know. So this is not like I planned this. When you leave a place of work because of mental issues, they'll give you cash. So what happened was I left because of that. So they gave me 4 months. They gave me 4 months. This is all true. They gave me 4 months of salary. It wasn't salary. It was a bit less, but it wasn't that much less. It was maybe 75% of my pay, right? They gave me that for 5 months, and then I got the unemployment, which I was getting last year, and that was 80% of my pay. So for a year and a half, I got paid for doing nothing, and then I had enough cash to survive for 7 months. But when it stopped, because this is the craziest part. I was spending like crazy. I was starting on Amazon, and I went crazy. And the week, this is nuts. It was the 21st June 2025 and 2018, yeah. So what happened was I going to pay for the grocery store. This is one of the most embarrassing stories in my life. I was going to the store every single day to buy $20. Yes. You heard me right. Every single day to buy $20 of junk food because I didn't want to cook. I was depressed. It's when I got really fat, farther than where I am right now, and I go to pay for my food, and they're saying card decline. I said, "What you mean card decline?" Insufficient funds. I'm like, holy shit, I have no money. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna fill up a unemployment thing. They're saying that you don't have any more weeks, so I'm $21. I got $20 in my account, and I have to pay the bills. I have to pay the rent the next week or the 2 weeks after that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. My janitor was super nice. I said, listen, I have money issues. I'll find a job. I called Michael again. You guys know Michael, and Michael's like, yeah, I don't work there anymore. I don't work at the agency. I'm like, holy shit, are you kidding me? What am I gonna do? And the next day, it's like, I don't work there, but I still have some contacts. You start on Thursday. I was like, wow, okay. So I went to start there, and that was 7 years of my life. Easy. So then, you guys know the history, but just to finish the video on a perfect matter. Last year, I'm focused on making content. That's my life and dream. It's my blood, sweat, and tears. In October 2024, you're my neighbor. And October 24, I'm told that you don't have an employment yet. So I started looking for work, but I still have money in the bank. I have 4,000 in the bank. 4,000 with me. I spend about 900 per month. It will last me it will last me 4 months for 3,600, right? So it will last me a while, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm planning to find a job. What are the job that I want? I do the first round of job that I want. First round of job that I want. It doesn't work. Now Christmas comes in. My dad gave me money. My mom gave me money for Christmas. And the second round of places that I don't want, that I work. Then we're in July. The whole winter is dead. You don't find a job in winter. So in March, and I do my second round, and I go back to the places that I wanted. Maybe they need people now, and I wasted too much time. And now the job that I'm being offered, because what's going on right now? Am I saying there's no work? No. I'm saying there's less work? Absolutely. What happened right now, for example, with Shein? What happened right now is there's a lot more people because they have condos, right? So condos, instead of having a house with 4 people, they have a condo with 40 people. Those 40 people need a job, right? But then they have a lot more employees and because they have a lot more employees. So you guys know that the rule of supply and demand. So the supply and demand is, I can sell this product at a higher price because there's a demand, or I have to lower my price because there's no demand. I can raise my price because there's no supply, or I have to lower my price because there's too many supplies. If somebody's selling bananas, you can't sell a banana for $10, right? So yeah, then what happened is I started applying to the places I didn't want, and because they have more choices, now they're asking you for a car, and you know. So I go with the agency, and and it doesn't work. We have my father's birthday, which is in April, and we got tipsy. Not wrong with tipsy, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if tipsy means you feel it. Like I'm not drunk, but I'm not far from being drunk. I feel drunk, but I'm not drunk. My father says, I go to work. I'm like, I miss PCT, man. He's like, yeah. My father feels bad for PCT. My mom is more simple. My mom is the classical mom. She's like, as long as you're happy, Steph, I don't care. Whatever you do, as long as you're happy, I don't care. My father's a bit more, and I love my mom, but my dad has been working in workshop, and I'm working in workshop, so it's a shared reality, So my father is like, it's a shame that PCT closed, because you would have worked your whole life there. And it's kind of like it's a weird thing to say to his son. It's a weird thing to hear as a son, but it's not wrong. I would have done. See, this is the craziest thing. What I have done my whole life, I don't know. Because when I started making content, which was 4 years ago, and then the year after, and then the year after, until it closed, my plan was to work at PCT until the social media start. And if it takes 6 years, it takes 6 years, it takes 7 years, it takes 7 years. When I started making content, I didn't know the company was gonna close. I didn't know that. There was rumor of it being closed. So we started hearing a rumor about being closed in November 2023. And no, that's not true. Around summer 2023, and then it closed in March 2024. So we had an inkling it's gonna close, right? Because my boss was talking about retirement, and at first it was a bit of retirement, then it was a lot. My boss was 67. People take kids with retirement at 65. So he even stayed more than he wanted to, I miss Miyagi the most. He was a good dude. And my father was like, he was right. If I did 7 more years before YouTube worked, I would have been there. I didn't think about finding a new job. I didn't think about having to find a new job before. And then when I lost my job, I was like, okay, well, how far? It's with content. It's special because you don't think about, okay, well, I have 2 or 3 months to do before I make enough money to survive. I don't think about you don't know. We're doing really well on social media, but are we doing better than we were doing 2 months ago? I don't know. Some numbers are better, some numbers are worse, which is kind of like weird, right? But now this is the summer. So this is the time to really push. Because if I do correctly, if I do a good enough job, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna be live every single day of the summer. Gonna be a lot of students which are spending the most time on social media. The students, if they help, well, if they like the content, they'll be able to give me the numbers that I need for that. You want to know something crazy? People said, how did you do it to go from 5,000 followers to 9,000 in 4 months? It was summer. It was summer. Most of these people came from lives. They didn't come from the content. They came from lives, right? And then my numbers on YouTube raised to what? My number on YouTube raised because my numbers on TikTok raised. So it's kind of normal, you know? So yeah, so I never thought I was gonna have to find another job. And that's it. That's it. So then, it was my father's birthday, and we were tipsy, and he was talking about if only there was a company that was close to what you were doing there, because PCT was very close to what I'm doing at Quebec, and my father, I think most people want their kids to do what they're doing. So my father was a welder, and he was working for him working in metal was cool. It was really cool. So for example, and that's the craziest thing, is the place I was working at was making business with Quebec, right? And then when he watched when he went to visit the company that was working at PCT, holy shit, this is close to Quebec, you know. So I was like, okay, well, let's go there. And I didn't want to go there because it was dirty. And I was like, holy shit, I don't. I miss the people. I miss how close it was to my home. See, this is kind of crazy because this is what I was talking about 3 months ago. Quebec wasn't my first choice. I'm not saying it's a bad company. It was my first choice. But it's about a list of positive versus negative. And the list for positive for Quebec is extremely long. It's a job that I know. It's the things that I did before. It's close to my house. There's a good salary. There's a lot of opportunity for overtime. There's a lot of opportunity for advantage. They have insurance. They once a week you have a meal with the company, which is pizza, which is nice. They take care of their employees, which is also good. They have 3 shifts. They have day, night, evening. So for example, at PCT, and again, this I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying only if I had like a person like I had at the other company, all I have to say is, can I change shifts? Right? All I have to say is, can I change shifts? There you go. I'm done. So how's it gonna go? I don't know. Now, is the plan has kind of changed, for example, per the content. It changed a little bit. Before it was, how fast can I make money on it? And now it's like, okay, well, if I have a good job, you know, I don't know. Because with overtime, they'll give you time off. I don't know. Right now, the plan, this is the plan I'm telling you today, on the 20th June 2025, the day after my interview. If it goes well, I'll stay there. I'll stay there. The reason why I wanted to leave PCT was because of the bullying. But I always wanted to work, you know. When I have time, I'm like, okay, I'm done here. I want to make content. And at that time, I'm there. What I'm thinking about is, for example, right? Right now, I am single, okay? Right now, I don't have kids. Right now, I don't have responsibilities, right? I could work until I have more responsibility. Imagine there's kids. I'm gonna be like, well, I have money saved up, and I can focus on taking care of the kids, and I have the content creation that's gonna support me, you know? Right now, and this is crazy because this was kind of what I was talking about 40 minutes ago. The plan would be to do like a squirrel. So feed your completely like hide food in your cheeks and do reserve. And this would be cash reserve, right? Like with this one, I could have weeks off and I could go to travel, you know. I got Maddie that wants me to go to New Zealand. And then there's also the reality of PCT. I love the job, but there's months where I didn't like it. There's months where I'm like, fuck you, I want to leave, you know. And maybe it wasn't so much a need to work with content creation. Maybe it was a need to leave, you know. Because if I'm happy at the other place, why would I leave, right? I don't know, dude. I'm thinking out loud, you know. I don't even know. Because there's so many things that could change. There's so many things I don't know. I got no fucking clue, guys. I mean, if I had a clue, what would I do? You know? It's a question of perception. I think I understand, I think I know, because I think I know I do X, Y, Z. But if X, Y, Z is just a perception of success versus a reality of success, what if X, Y, Z was the wrong way to do things? I don't know. You know? There's also the fact, this is sad. When I told them that I had this job with the agency, they were so fucking happy. My mom, she gave me a gift card. My father was like, holy shit, let's go out to celebrate. Guys, I've been working there for a week, chill. You know, at the same time, it made them happy. It made them really happy. Because the last job that I had with the agency was cleaning offices. But those cleaning the offices were 4 hours, 4 hours per night, 3 nights a week. So 12 hours a week. Like, this is not sustainable. Then I got this job from the agency, which is 25 hours a week. However, the guy stealing is not stable. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. You know? I don't know. You know? I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And then there's this other problem. I'm seeing this new job, which is Quebec. I'm seeing this as this is a lifesaver. Oh, this is gonna be the perfect thing. Oh, this is gonna solve every single problem. And then you're relying on other people to solve your problem. I was seeing this person on TikTok and I love them. They're a good person, but whenever their shit hits the fan, they'll do a video on TikTok, say, hey, I need some help, financial help. There's this guy yesterday, and this is something that's quite normal. I'm watching every single day. I'm watching TikTok battles because they're fucking funny and they're fucking crazy. And it's these two garbage people. I talk about them a lot, right? And two garbage people fighting against each other. So because they're garbage people, you don't care if they self-destruct. Sorry to say, but that's the truth. Now, the good part with that is that because they're garbage people, I don't have an expectation. Now, here's the bad thing. One of the guys yesterday said, hey guys, today I need you guys. I got something tomorrow. I won't be able to be here. I need your support. I need money, and I'm not ashamed to say it. For me, saying that is pretty shameful, but hey, if you feel no shame asking for cash, go ahead, right? Go ahead. And I want to talk about this because this is kind of important. There's nothing wrong with giving gift on TikTok. There's nothing wrong with receiving gift on TikTok. But the second you ask for gifts, it's not cool. Right? It's not cool. You cannot be relying on people. It's like I cannot be reliant on that job saving everything. No, that job will take care of financial issues. I hope so. Because I'm fucking working. But do I have financial issues right now? No. No? I'm too broke to do what I want to do, but am I sad? No. And all of this conversation is pointless because if I get the job, we'll see how much it changed. And if I don't get the job, they're talking about it. Why are we talking about it? However, this is what I was talking about last week. What is pointless versus what's not pointless. It's actually quite a cool conversation. See, I was talking about something, and with this, there's gonna be a little bit of a race thing. And there's nothing bad with that. I don't mean it in a bad way. I was talking about how in French and in Quebec, and I talked about this before, we have this aversion for speaking English. And I'm speaking English right now, right? I was talking about colonization, financial colonization. Like I said, the French Canadian, they were what should we call it? They were farmers. They didn't have education, right? I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth. My father would have had a farm. My father is Quebecois. My mom, she's Egyptian. My father would have a farm if it wasn't for the fact that his father was an asshole. So here's what the craziness, okay? So meaningless. My grandfather being an asshole is pointless, is meaningless because I never met him. My dad says he's an asshole. My uncles and aunts he's an asshole, but I never got his version. I never knew why he was an asshole. He was drinking. He has alcoholism. What drove him there? Nobody knows. Nobody cared enough because it was an asshole, right? My grandfather being an asshole, meaningless. However, it drove my father out of the house into Lachine. Guess where they met me and my mom? Him and my mom in Lachine. So if my grandfather was an asshole, he was an asshole. I wouldn't exist. I would not exist. Right? So I was talking about how French Canadian were farmers. Now the problem with being a farmer is you'll never need anything. So if you're hungry, you have fruit, vegetable, meat, and you don't need a lot of cash to survive. However, this being comfortable is the enemy of adversity, and because you don't have adversity, right? You don't really evolve. So you get comfortable, and you know your survival instinct goes down. Like if you look at people 100 years ago, they could all cook, they could all build houses, they could all hunt. Who can now? A very small percentage of the people, right? Is that a bad thing? No, because do we need to do it? No. If we need to do it, we're all fucked, you know? Then I was talking about that, and I was talking about how the English people came. So this is the crazy thing. This is absolutely insane. We were conquered by England centuries ago. So technically speaking, Canada is this is the craziest thing. So Canada was at the beginning was French because the French found it and they called it La Nouvelle France. La Nouvelle France is it started in Quebec. So what happened is this is complex. So the French people discover Canada, but they discovered a part of Quebec right first. Now we call it Nouvelle France, which is New France. So people were speaking French. Then England and France, which were the two most powerful countries in the world, went to war for Canada, right? So England won, which means we got colonized by English people. However, since the mentality of the French people was there for so long, if you look at it, this is something that French people won't tell you. Look at Quebec in the beginning, it was all fucking murderers and rapists. So they knew. So when the French came, there was the First Nation. First Nation were Autochthone, which I don't know what it's in English, but the Mohawk, the Nunavut, they were First Nation, right? Indian people. I'm Indian. I don't know what's in English. And they were strong as fuck. So what happened is like, we don't care if you die. We're gonna put you here so you build. Okay, so this is the crazy part. This is no books in history will tell you this, right? This is this is a knowledge that's gonna die with my generation, possibly. By the way, I want you guys to watch the cloud. It was beautiful. They are beautiful. So the original plan was to send in criminals that we don't care if they die or not, and then they would build city, right? And the city would be able to defend. So then you send in like in French we call it char à canon, um, cannon fodder in English. And then they would build the cities in the house, and then people that had a military status, they would come and they would say, okay, well, we defend the city. If they come in, we have a. It was kind of cheating though. So the First Nation, they believe in nature. So they had hatchet, they have bow. The fucking French, they had guns, they had tanks. We're gonna do it against the tanks, right? With your arrows. So they won. And then this is the craziest part. England was so fucking brilliant. They waited until the French had power. They waited until the French was in control. They waited just after the French won control. And they attacked because the French was weakened, because they just had a war. So the England won, right? But the mentality, the core of the force was still in Quebec, which is why Quebec French speak French. So then the English, they said, hey, people in Quebec, they don't know shit. So then what they did was they introduced capitalism. So back in the days of my grandparents, what they would do, which is not, it was 100 years ago, not even. My grandma was born in 42. She had my father, she was 16. 42. And so what happened is, the English people came, and they said, hey, listen. So the French they were trading. So for example, this guy has 4 cows. He has 4 cows. And this other guy, he has 12 chicken. So the guy with the cow was gonna say, hey, let's trade. Say, okay, what you want? I'll trade you a dozen eggs for a liter of milk. So they said, okay, well, I need more than a liters of milk. Give me a gallon of milk, and we'll give you 30 eggs. Okay, deal. Which is the guy that's the eggs that's winning. So then you don't need the monetary values. So then the English people came with money and said, hey, you want a new tractor? You want you want some new cows? Forget about trading. With money, you're guaranteed to win. And then they had a mentality. So with the French people, they were poor. They were workers. The French people were the worker class, and the English people was the hiring class. So there was a leverage of monetary gain. So the English people would come and said, hey, it was crazy. It was crazy it was insane. We French had the Nordics for hockey. Hockey has always been national sport. We had the Nordics. You know what the craziest thing is? We went from work to this, which I don't know why. I don't know why. With the French people, they were so busy with the farm this summer. They were so busy, didn't have free time. Out in the winter, they couldn't do shit because the they had to be protected from the cold. They couldn't plant anything. So in the winter, they would play hockey because they had free times. And this is why hockey is so popular. This is why it's not soccer. This is why it's not football. Because when you play football, it's the summer. When you play soccer, it was the summer and we were working. So then the English came and they wanted to play hockey. So they had the Canadian team, which is the Montreal Habs, go. The Montreal Canadian, that is still the team. And the French, they had the Nordic. They were a bunch of French people. And which is why it's so important. But because of the history behind it. So then the Nords lost, and it was crazy. The Nords, people would go, and it was crazy. There was a fucking fence. I have to watch Maurice Richard today. I'm going to be watching Maurice Richard today. Crazy. I'm going to be watching Maurice Richard. So, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't do anything because they had the cash, right? They had the business, they had everything. So then what happened was it was a bad situation for everybody. I don't know. What was I saying? Because she's complaining about me talking, for sure. She was complaining. Guys, it is 5 o'clock, okay? If I want to talk, I can talk. And surprise motherfucker, because at 7:30, I'm back. 7:30, I'm fucking back. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, I forgot to do something. Shit. Can you believe I fell asleep in the Bible? I fell asleep in the Bible. Okay. Forgot to upload. Forgot to upload. It will go with highlights. We're at 80 hours out of 100. That's not good. Especially with me working. Then the English came and they said, you know what? Let's. They had Dominion, and they did one of the only in the world financial colonization. Right? So they said, you want to speak French? Fine, you'll be poor. If you speak English, we'll give you jobs. And in the chat I had Anna. Anna is First Nation. So because Anna is First Nation, she was like, this is interesting. Because she was also colonized. Well, not her, but her ancestors were colonized. Her ancestor. I don't know when you can call it ancestor. Her great-great-grandparents. So she's like, oh, this is interesting. But this is interesting because we both got colonized. For someone that doesn't know what that means, nobody cares. Like, an American, you won't understand, you know? So this is all, it's all pointless and meaningless if you don't understand. But if you do understand, there's meaning to it because this is part of who you are. This is relatable. And, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we end this video. I'm gonna do possibly another half an hour, and I'm gonna have to go because she's gonna go crazy, and I have to be caught in today at 7:30 because at 9:30 there's a battle. I'll do at least 2 hours, you know. Anyway, I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. Okay. You're still good. You're still good. Don't blink, it's your buying. Welcome to our show. Considering Walk with having a wonderful day on this 20th June 2025. This is a video for the gaming channel. You're gonna be seeing me look down. I am watching porn. Nah, I'm on Twitch. I'm taking care of clips, uploading them on TikTok and on YouTube. Today we're talking about Gundam Force, and I know I talked about this yesterday. G Eternal. I want to reiterate why Gundam is such a good game and why I want to play it. So, oops. I'm going to be here. Sorry guys, we saw something so cool. Oh shit, am I dreaming? I think they're growing wheat. Shit, they're growing wheat. Can't believe it. Oh yeah. Yeah, my neighbors are growing wheat. You know the ones that are super loud and always complaining? They're growing wheat. They're potheads. Wakey inky. So yeah, so like I was saying, the reason why I love J2No, well, there's a reason why we're making 2 videos in a day in a row. I made a video about it yesterday, and I made a video about it now. What I said yesterday was still true. To me, J2No, the reason why it's actually quite sad. I'm playing a game. So I told you the story before, yesterday actually, how we lost the account, right? We didn't lose the account. The account still exists. I just don't have the code to get in. And I deleted the application because I need to make space for the tower. Gundam takes 10 gigs of data, by the way, of storage. So we go in, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to stop it because it's such a good game. The reason as to why is still I don't know nothing about Gundam. There's so many series about Gundam. There's so many Gundam. See, today, you know what's the craziest thing? Today I got my new team, and they're super strong, and I don't have a single character that is the same. That is not true. I have a character that's the same. It's the character that's given to you if you feel the panel. So the one with the horn, the something like that. And this is his name. But I forgot how the story, how good the story was. The reason why the story is so good is they take actual footage. It's not they take actual footage from the show. So there's the shitty graphics from the first season. By the way, I did like the first series. I didn't know the first series. I just got it. It's just so. This is history and an application. And you know, right now, there's this huge problem, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say what I think, because fuck you if you don't agree. The problem that we have right now is there's so many games that are pretending to be the official game of One Piece, the official game of Naruto, the official game of Bleach. Technically speaking, Bleach Brave Soul is a good game. Naruto, mobile game, shit. Sorry. Shinobi Temple, shit. One Piece Shadow Cruise, it's okay. It's nothing great, it's nothing bad, but it's nothing great. So, with Gundam, I'm getting this. Gundam, I know it's hard to believe. But it's still an anime, right? And the thing that I have is so cool. I have the guy with the sight. It's so cool. I have the guy with the sight. I have the girl, but I had her on the other playthrough also. She got red hair. She has a lot of like little beam. The other one that I have, he's so cool. He has a blade, and he has like a motor there, and the motor is turning. But just the fact that we have like the story of every single series. Now it isn't the story. There's a lot less. Like it's very summarized, which is okay. I mean, I get it, right? I get it. But at the same time, this is more I'll ever have. This is more I'll ever fucking have for Gundam story. Trying to talk slow, trying to talk very low. She doesn't complain. But even then, she's complaining, so who gives a shit, right? What I can do. Nothing I can do. So yeah, now we're uploading for Twitch, for TikTok and YouTube. So yes, so Gundam is a perfect. And also, this Gundam is a game that, this is the coolest thing about Gundam. There is event, but the events are 4 or 5 hours every 2 weeks. Gundam, what the craziest thing is, you could play, stopped. They also give a lot of rewards. Like for example, I got 4 ultra rare free. And the problem with Gundam, I'll tell you the problem with Gundam. It's really hard to understand what is the rare part. What is the rare? Is it SSR? Is it RRR? Is it ultra rare? I don't know. I have no clue. This is more like an Asian code, I guess. Oh shit. This is more of an Asian way of doing things, which is cool too. I appreciate that. It's just weird. Now you have this necessary of understanding the story or the source material. So for example, if you know that the source material, this Gundam is super strong, you know. Now all the problem with Gundam is, for example, in the first one, there's a tank that is a Gundam. So of course, with the later season, they're all stronger, you know. Also, what I'm gonna say is the fact that you have an obligatory series squad, I love. The fact that you have a free squad, I love. Give me content where I'm forced to use Gundam. Otherwise, I'm gonna be using the same 10 Gundam for the whole playthrough, right? That's pretty much it. So it's a game that I highly recommend. To be honest, it's a game that's, I don't know, to me, one of the greatest game I played on mobile in a while. I told you guys how I wanted a mobile game. We're doing it, no commentary, which kind of sucks because I like talking. But at the same time, it feels, I'm not gonna redo the same thing twice. I'm gonna read the same thing twice. And yeah, that is pretty simple. Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. Good. I'm done. 19%. Let's go charge the battery. Let's go charge the battery. Yeah.